So the last couple days I've been getting a bunch of comments and my DMs flooded with ideas and theories about Dragon Ball that you guys would like me to cover, and trust me, I'm trying to get to as many as possible, but there's one that I saw a few times that it just seemed so interesting to dive into because it is almost like a huge continuity error, and I see that's what people are taking it as, and it could be huge, but it is explained, and it's explained in the manga. But let me know in the comment section below any theories or ideas or concepts you guys would like me to cover in the Dragon Ball Super manga or anime, and I will go ahead and see if there's a good video to make out of that, and I will make that video. And as always, huge shout out to the Black Squad who's here every single day liking the videos, following and subscribing. You guys are the best. Let's go ahead and jump in. So the huge continuity error that everybody is telling me about is this scene right here, and I don't know, I feel like I'm going to give you guys a couple of seconds to realize what the issue is with this scene and why there is a huge continuity error potentially with what is going on here. I'll give you guys a few moments. So by now, if you got it, you got it. You put it in the comment section. Well, the answer is this right here. Bardock. Not just Bardock though. Bardock's tail. Bardock should not have a tail here. And I understand this is Dragon Ball minus. It was also in Dbs Broly as well that he has a tail. He's got a tail at the end of Dbs Broly when he is taking Goku to the secret location to launch him to planet Earth. And he also has a tail in his final stand when he fights against the Frieza Force. We got a little shot of that where he faces off against Frieza, or at least tries to, and he still has a tail. But I already hear you asking, what do you mean Blackscape? What do you mean Bardock doesn't have a tail? He's always had a tail. I mean, even in DBZ he had a tail. Like, what do you mean he's not supposed to have a tail? Well, I'll tell you what I mean. In Dragon Ball Super Chapter 83, we have the fight between Gas and Bardock. Now, Gas is attacking Bardock, and this is when Bardock basically tells Gas that he is here for the long haul. He wants to fight. That is what a Saiyan's pride is all about. He is going to be his #1 ops in this confrontation. But Bardock was a lot of talk here because he actually gets hit with one blast and goes flying straight into this tree trunk, only to get hit with a barrage, a volley of direct blast from Gas. Like, Gas really kicks the floor here. He basically pulls a Vegeta in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and does a whole indiscriminate volley against Bardock, and then once he lands, Bardock is basically down for the count essentially. Like, he is absolutely done. But then Gas, being upset, says, you've overstayed your welcome. Remember, Bardock is an interloper in their affairs, and Gas is way stronger than Bardock at this point. So Gas is like, I'm done with you, and goes straight for the Saiyan weak spot, which the Saiyan weak spot is the tail. Remember, the tail, once you grab it, you turn into this, a bubbling puddle, a mess. So there's no way that anyone's gonna have any energy after they're grabbed like this by the tail. It's basically a KO for any Saiyan. That's why all the Saiyans kind of wrap this tail around their waist. Gas uses this moment to make Bardock a slingshot and propels him all over the place, smacking him around on the dirt, on the ground, everywhere. And then he ends up kicking him while pulling at the tail at the same time, removing the tail right off of Bardock's butt, and he goes flying into this dirt mound, and literally Gas says, no more giant ape form for you now. It's over, Saiyan. And so Bardock has no tail and no great ape form at this moment right here, and we're thinking like this is the end of it, but then Dragon Ball Minus shows us this. And I can already hear what you're thinking. Dragon Ball Minus came first before this part of the manga. So, of course, Akira Toriyama or Toyotaro, all of them had no idea what was going to happen, that Bardock was going to get his tail removed. Like, none of that. They had no idea that stuff was going to happen. But I feel like Bardock's tail being removed was a whole part of the story before the granola arc, which I am not going to go into in this video, but I will tell you what happens after that, and that it's not just Dragon Ball Minus. In chapter 84, we go through Goku's memories as being a baby, and we see that Goku actually was able to see Bardock return from planet Cereal alive, barely alive, and he is missing his tail still. And Gine is taking care of him, trying to take care of him, but looks like she's kind of just happy that he's alive. Goku goes back to sleep, and at this moment when Goku goes back to sleep, Bardock ends up being completely healed. He ends up leaving. He still has no tail, and Gine and Raditz say goodbye. Then we see just Gine doing her own thing with her friends, cleaning the house, working and sleeping, waiting for Bardock. And when Goku finally officially is woken up forcefully, he first sees Bardock. That's the first face that he actually sees. And when he gets out of the chamber here, Gine is putting him in this changing table, and we see that Bardock has a tail. This is directly connected to chapter 84. This is not minus. So everything we see here with Goku remembering his parents, and the last thing that Goku sees is Bardock and Gine, like, he's got a tail. So Bardock has a tail. What is going on? Well, tails returning is a very rare trait, happens to a very small percentage of Saiyans after their tails get cut off. It's very rare, but it's happened to only Goku and Gohan. That is it. The Saiyan tail has only returned for those two characters. It happened to Goku when he was in the middle of a fight in Dragon Ball, I think several times, but this is one of the times that I saw. And then it happened to Gohan as well when he was facing off against Vegeta. It happens during moments of crisis, and the only Saiyan bloodline that we've seen this happen to is Bardock's line. This seems to be genetic, something that can happen to a small percentage of Saiyans, but even smaller, a chance that happens in Bardock's line. And it seems to happen to not only the grandson, the son, but also the father. In the beginning of Dragon Ball Minus, this is the first panel. The first panel says, the belligerent Saiyans were fighting day and night under the evil ruler Frieza to take over various planets, and the first shot is Bardock facing off against this alien. He has his tail back, meaning that Bardock's tail regrew in between him leaving again for missions and this moment right here, right before the end of the Saiyans. So more than likely his tail grew back because he is always in dangerous situations. He's always fighting for his life, and it was needed in combat. And again, it happens to a very small percentage of Saiyans, and it seems like Bardock's line definitely has that ability to grow back their tails in danger. I mean, look at this art from Toyotaro about Bardock after this specific fight, because this is the people that he was fighting against in that beginning opening shot of Dragon Ball Minus. Like, if every fight actually gets you to this point, it's safe to assume that you're in life or death situations, you're in imminent danger, and your tail has a possibility of growing back. Now, we don't know how many Saiyans have this ability, but we absolutely do know that at least Goku's line does. So that's why Bardock has his tail at the end of Dragon Ball Minus, even though Gas cut it off. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll be back with almost like a brother video to this, talking more about tails in the future.
Subscribe for more content. Or perish.